Alright guys, so I thought this would be a fun video to do, and this is one idea I've kind of thought that's been rattling around in my head for a while, and I thought this would be kind of fun to do, and that is, you can see right here, a Thor and Amphibia crossover. Yeah, I thought this would be a lot of fun to crank out. I thought this would be a pretty cool story to do. It's been one that's been on my mind for a while, and yeah, let's get into it. So there has been a few changes. I was initially going to post this before the end of Amphibia, but then I was like, you know what? No, I think I can play with stuff after that. This story takes place after in the 10-year future, like 10 years in the future, at the end of the series. So in this story, basically what happens is that Thor is on his way home to Asgard. He's taking the Bifrost back home, and what happens is something has gone wrong. Like, something happened to the Bifrost. Like, it shook, and it, like, knocked him off course, and now he's fallen into the world of Amphibia. And he's like, oh, this is weird. This is rather odd. And he has landed directly near, like, he fell like a comet near Wortwood. And keep in mind, this is right before, like, the night before, the night after Sprigg and Molly and Grimes and several others have left to find this new continent untouched by amphibians. So Thor is encountered by the people of Wortwood, who are like, that something fell from the sky, and we thought it was a comet. No, it's another. They think he's human. Like, they think Thor's a human. He's like, do all human males dress like you? We know what humans are. It's like, I am Thor Odin's son. I'm god of thunder. To which Polly goes, that's egotistical. So Thor has to explain it. Like, at first he's like, you know, what are the? He thinks they're goblins and such, but he doesn't like raise his hammer to fight them. He's like, strange creatures. I am Thor Odin's son, god of thunder, prince of Asgard. Can you tell me where I am? He's like, you're in Amphibia, dude. I don't know that realm. This is bad. And what's worse is when he's like, well, no problem. I was just merely knocked off course. I can head back home. Heimdall, open the Bifrost. Anytime. Come on. Takes a minute. Oh no. So something has happened and Thor cannot reach the Bifrost Bridge. Meanwhile, out at sea, what has happened is that Grimes and his exploratory crew with Sprigg, Molly, and the others have all, like, they've run into this strange fog that has brought them closer to a continent. And he's like, and Grimes at first is like, wait a minute, this is like, it shouldn't take us like one day to get there. It should have taken us like 4 months of traveling to reach. Like, it should have taken us 3-4 months to reach this continent we found. So, what the hell's this? So, they keep going through this fog, and this continent that they found is part of another realm. That realm is Muspelheim, home of the fire demons. So, yeah, they've run right into Surtur's realm. And as you can imagine, that doesn't bode well. That doesn't bode well for anyone in this vicinity. So meanwhile, Thor travels to Wortwood with Polly and Hop Pop, and they more or less talk about how, like, they've met humans before, and Thor's like, oh yes, I've been to Midgard. It's like my second home. I rather enjoy that land. Pray tell, have you heard of the Avengers? And they're like, no. Do they have Anne on it? Is Anne part of, like, they think Anne's part of the event? Anne, Marcy and Sasha are part of the Avengers, because of course they would. And they're like, no, I don't think we've had anyone by those names. It's been a while since I've been to Earth. I should ask, though. So this is going on, and during that same night, some frogs return to Wortwood, freaking out because they've encountered creatures in the woods. They're like, oh, well, maybe it was a snake or a giant lizard. And they're like, no, these creatures were scary. They were tall. They had pointy ears and, like, dark skin. Like, they were, like, pale blue skin, dark, pale blue skin. And Thor goes, I have an idea of what those are. So he just readies Mjolnir and travels out into the woods, and sure enough, there are dark elves out in the woods, and they're like, Odin's son, get him! And like the whole time, like Polly thinks Thor's like the coolest guy because it's a big muscular man, and she's like, if I was human, I would totally date you. He's like, that's creepy. You should not do that. So Thor shows off his power and fights off the dark elves, and he's like, this is a problem. And he also encounters when he's fighting the dark elves, he's like, I can do this, to quote my friend Captain America, I can do this all day. And then he gets cold cocked from behind, and it's Curse. The dark elf with, the enhanced dark elf. Curse is like, I was hoping to run into you, Odin's son. When Malekith sent me on this mission, I was wondering if I was going to ever see you again. But it's a surprise to face you so early. If you're wondering, like I should have mentioned before, we're 6 minutes into the video. This is kind of like its own little, like, Marvel continuity. It's more comics than movie. But yeah, so Thor falls under attack by Curse the Dark Elves. The Frogs of War would help out, and who also jumps in is General Yunan, now retired, and she helps fight Curse off. But now Thor is like, I would like to open the Bifrost and contact, go back home, but if the Dark Elves are here and Malekith is on your world, I need to figure out what's going on. And I also fear for your friend, for your brother and his comrades, young Polly. Meanwhile, with Sprig and the others, Sprig and Grimes and the others are fighting their way through fire demons, and they're not doing a good job. Like, they have to run and flee from them as Surtur and his fire demons pursue them. They also, and this is by this point, they actually run into some help. The help that finds them, like a huge lightning bolt just comes crackling from the sky and hits Surtur in the face, and he's like, "What? You?" And it's Beta Ray Bill, and he's like, Surtur of Muspelheim, I came to finish what I started. And those two fight, because if those that don't know, Surtur destroyed Beta Ray Bill's homeworld. So the two do battle, and during all this, Beta Ray Bill sees, like, the frogs and toads there, and, like, the amphibians that are hiding from the fire demon, and he's like, another time, Surtur, I'll deal with you. I gotta save these people. So he also, it doesn't help that frogs need water to survive, so the humidity and heat is slowly killing them as well. So Beta Ray Bill rescues them and brings them back to Scuttlebutt, his ship, and he basically is like, who are you? Like, what are you? What realm are you from? And he's like, we're from Amphibia. I don't know what realm you're talking about. Are you from Earth? Because Anne never brought up horsehead people before. And he's like, I'm not a horse. I hope not, at least. So, from there, it's slowly being put together that something is going on between the 9 realms and Amphibia. Like, something big is happening. And during all this, Andreas, who's been kind of living alone, kind of in his, self-made punishment, he is visited by Loki. Loki has been the one who's been kind of manipulating everything. Essentially, what he wants is the remaining energy from the Calamity Box. Even though it's gone, like, the energy of the Calamity Box, and the box itself was destroyed, Loki has the magic to reform it. He has the power, he has the ability to, like, reform that and actually take it to the power of the Calamity Box for himself. And to which Andreas is like, you weren't meant to have that power. It was meant for mortals. If a god like you encounters it, because here's the thing, Andreas is aware of the 9 realms because the core told him, like, there were other worlds out there, Asgard was one, and there were even plans, like, the core had plans to fight and defeat the people of Asgard. So he knows who Loki is. And Loki is just like, I want to use that, give me the box. Give me the power to the box, and Andreas is like, no, I'm not going to. I got over, my father's manipulation. I'm not going to let you do that. So Loki kills Andreas. He just straight up kills him when he says, right. So Loki has been the only, the reason, and however, the reason why he's basically been trying to find a way to get the Calamity Box, and through his mischief, he's gotten some of Thor's other enemies to come here. He's been using his magic to open doorways to the other realms and manipulating the other Thor villains to attack and find the energy, the scarce remnants energy of the Calamity Box, so he can reform the Calamity Box itself and use its power for his own, and finally take the throne of Asgard. The only setback he had is that when he kind of knocked open that door, he also knocked his brother off Bifrost and into Amphibia. So that's why Thor ended up in Amphibia. And when Thor finds out about this, he's like, of course it was Loki. He's like, why didn't I just assume that first and foremost? Why was it that my first thought wasn't Loki? Why wasn't it Loki? So, yeah, so everyone battles. I want to have this fun scene where everyone, Thor puts his hammer down to eat and stuff, and all the other people of Wortwood are trying to figure out who's worthy to pick up the hammer. And Hop Pop is like, I don't understand why you folks are trying to pick up a hammer. See? And he lifts it up and he's like, oh. So Hop Pop is worthy of wielding Mjolnir. Why? Because I thought that'd be funny. But by the end of it, when it's all said and done, Sprig wants it. He said, he asked Thor, after he and Beta Ray Bill reunite the two groups. He basically Sprig asked Thor, "Can you do a favor for me? Can you open a doorway somewhere?" And he's like, "I can, young one. Come." So Sprig, Polly, and Hop Pop, along with Grimes and Unin and Olivia, all follow Thor to Earth, and they're reunited with the girls for a day. Yeah. So there you go, guys. That is pretty much my Thor Amphibia crossover. You guys tell me in the comments below, what did you guys think of it? Like it, hate it, comment below, let me know. And other than that, if you haven't already, hit the link below, head on over to my Patreon. I am Mr. Multiverse. See you next time in the Multiverse.